everybody, this is Michael out in Maui, Aloha. So if you've been enjoying all the contents that I've been putting out, I recommend subscribing to the channel. So today, let's talk the throw. So if you've been throwing for a little while now, the first thing you're going to realize, it's your hand, the grip, your wrist is the throw for forehand and backhand. And putting, putting, it's all in the wrist. You release the putter, you throw forehand, throw backhand. Those are the only three things that I ever work on to develop. Everything else is kind of irrelevant in the sense that, there's times when you're going to make a throw. Like, let's say there's a tree right here in front of me. I threw my disc, it's behind a tree. Well, I'm not going to be able to run up and throw. I'm going to have to stride out from the tree, and now I'm going to have to make my throw from here. Just like this. So I'm going to stand here like this, I'm going to reach back, and I'm going to throw. This whole throw is done with my arm and my wrist. That's it. That's all I'm going to get on this throw because I'm behind a tree or a bush. Every throw is not a run-up throw. Same with your forehand. You're going to find times when you're just throwing standstill right here. But all of those shots are done with just the wrist. The wrist is what throws the disc. The better you can develop that wrist, the better you're going to throw your disc. I mean, it's that simple. It comes down to a really good grip, strong grip, and just learning how to just throw with your arm. Right here, throw with your arm. Here. And you just do that over and over and over again, just trying to do it harder. Forehand, same thing. It's this, over and over. Just try to learn how to use your wrist. So that's all I practice. Because, like I said, that's the throw. So all I ever do is just kind of take a stance, take my grip, and then as hard as I can, just try to throw. Here. Everything's about just trying to hit it here. But the faster you get at doing that, the harder you're going to throw. But you got to learn how to do that faster. And like I said, the faster you go, the better grip you need to have. So many times I hear people talk about a loose grip, and that doesn't even make sense. You're throwing hard, you got to hold on to that disc. But that's all I would practice. Just stand here, grip your disc, and throw it as hard as you can with your arm and wrist. Here. So it's just right here. And throw. But that's all you want to concentrate on. It's just that. Just your arm, good grip, and just throw. And then the same thing with your forehand. The forehand, take your grip and do the same thing. You just want to throw as hard as you can forehand. So it's just right here. But all you do is practice that over and over again. And little by little, you start to develop the throw. For the front, backhand, forehand, But the wrist is the name of the game to throw the disc. And I can tell you, I hold my disc tight on all hard throws. Because when you're throwing, 50, 60 miles an hour, you got to hold on to your disc. And that is the power. So, but I just recommend, that, just try to develop your arm. The rest of the body you can bring in after you've learned to throw the disc. So for now, just kind of just hold your disc out and just practice throwing it harder and harder, because throwing harder is just, little increments. You don't get big giant increments, once you start pushing. Once you get your distance to start going farther, it just takes time. It's little by little. The better you get with your body and your form, the harder you're going to learn to throw. So, but I would start by just gripping the disc and just learn to throw hard as you can, and do it as hard as you can. Right here. Hard as you can. Develop the wrists. Forehand and backhand. So anyways, this is Michael out in Maui. Aloha.